Hey, thanks for checking out the videos. As always, this is one of our videos talking about the perspective of the Muslim faith and the Christian faith, or those who follow the faith of Islam or Christ followers. And so today's a little bit of sort of a bonus video. It's tips for those who are Christ followers when talking to somebody who is a Muslim. These are just tips to get you thinking and get them thinking about what the details are, what the facts are, what the difficult questions are. We want to make decisions. We don't want to make converts. We want to make thinkers. We don't want to make the brainwashed. And so there's too much religion in this world where people are doing the right thing because they think they have to, or because they think it earns favor with God. We want people to think about something, to be convinced of it, and then of course take that next step to faith in believing in the God of the universe. And so whether you're a Muslim or you're a Christian, I just challenge you to think about these things, and these are some great tips for you to consider. So often Christians feel that it's actually their job to explain the deity of Jesus or Isa to a Muslim. Keep in mind that Jesus himself said, "But who do you say I am?" And then Simon Peter answered him and said, "You're the Christ, you're the Son of the living God." And Jesus answered to him and said, "Blessed are you, Simon Bar-Jonah," or Peter, "for flesh and blood has not revealed this to you." Nobody has opened your eyes. Nobody showed you this via facts or figures. But my Father who is in heaven has shown you this. And you can find that in Matthew chapter 16, 5 through 17. And so let God reveal to somebody who Jesus is, who Isa is. If you're trying to witness to somebody, you're going to be able to just lay the facts out, lay out a compelling argument. They'll have their compelling details as well. You should consider them, so you should learn from them. But I believe that the truth always stands up under the light of scrutiny. And so let it speak for itself. Let God's Spirit come into the situation. Pray that God or Allah would show up and surprise everyone involved with a move of His Spirit in their mind, in their heart, and in their soul. You want to experience God. You want to have something beyond just a cerebral thought or an impulsive religious following of something. You don't want it to be just mimicking someone. You want it to be in your heart. You want it to be something you truly feel. And so the next small tip here would be that it's not always wise to try to explain something like the Trinity unless the person actually brings it up to you. And so the word Trinity actually exists nowhere in the Bible. It's a term that's made up by Christ followers to try to explain the nature of God. You have the Father, you have the Son, and you have the Holy Spirit. Those are the three, or the Holy Ghost. Those are the three that are typically defined by the word Trinity. The way that I like to describe it is just very, very simple. Essentially, I am Joe. I am a father to my children. I am a son to my parents. I am a boss to my employees. I am three different people at three different times, but I am still one Joe. I am me. And so I believe it's Deuteronomy 6:4 says, "Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one God." And so there's one God, three names, three manifestations, if you will. In fact, many more. There's the cloud by day, the fire by night in the time of Moses in the wilderness. There's the water that came out of the rock with Moses. There are many different appearances or manifestations of God throughout history. And so that's the Christian perspective on that, of course. The Muslim perspective is that Allah is one. They believe in one God, the same as Christ followers. However, Muslims also believe in the greatest of sins, which is called shirk, S-H-I-R-K, which is to attribute partners to God. To say that God is a Trinity to a Muslim is essentially an unforgivable sin if there's not an understanding that the Trinity is a representation of the one God, Allah, the one God of the universe. And so you can try to explain those manifestations, but I just suggest sort of staying away from that subject matter unless you absolutely need to go over it, especially if you're asked about it. I would not run away from it, but I wouldn't seek it out. And so Muslims also, third tip, have the highest regard or respect for the written scriptures, the Quran. They keep it above their waist. They place it on the highest shelf when it's in storage. They never let it touch the ground. And so if you go to a Muslim or a follower of the Islamic faith using a marked up, beat up, old ratty Bible with highlighter all over it, and they're going to consider that irreverent of God and very disrespectful. They're going to think that you do not respect the scriptures. Of course, the truth is you're studying your brains out and you're eating that up, you're devouring it, but they just do it in a much different way. And so my tip, or the tip that I'm going to share with you that I've learned, is to go with a fresh, brand new, maybe broken in, but definitely not beat up, not written on Bible, and take very good care while you're witnessing to your friend, while you're sharing the faith. Make sure you don't put it on the floor or drop it on the table. Make sure you wash your hands before you start the conversation, sort of as a ceremonial washing. Do whatever you can to be respectful. And then final tip here is Muslims believe that Allah or God punishes people for their own sins, and many would believe that it would be unfair for Jesus to be punished and die for the sins of others. C.S. Lewis, one of the greatest Christ-following writers and creators, if you will, of our time, suggests that thinking about sins as if they were debts is a good idea. It makes sense for those in debt to seek help from somebody who owes nothing to no one and can actually afford to help those who owe something. Jesus did not sin, so he is able to help those who come to him for salvation from their sins. He has a tremendous reservoir, or if you will, an ever-ending reservoir of salvation from the penalty of sin. And so we've talked about the righteous judge needing to have the trespass or the sin paid for so that the person doesn't get punished. Well, guess what? Jesus can pay that price. And so it's an interesting way of thinking about things because, again, a righteous or just judge will not just let somebody walk out of the courtroom because they did a bunch of good stuff. It doesn't erase the bad stuff. Thanks for checking this out. We'll have another video shortly. Take care.